Shalan Benedict.
Hello there, very good evening. Welcome to another edition of Face to Face. Back in 2022, when the Arugale was in full swing, one of the main demands of the general public was for a system change, for new people to come up, and take over responsibility in Sri Lanka, because what we've seen for the past 70 years was kind of the same people moving around in government, the same families, their children, their grandchildren, their relatives governing Sri Lanka, and that hasn't really been the best for Sri Lanka given the situation that we're in right now. But there was a dearth in new faces coming into politics. It could have been lack of opportunities, it could have been economic circumstances, it could have been the massive spread of nepotism here in Sri Lanka. But all that changed after the Arugale came about in Sri Lanka, and people really opened their eyes to the realities of what was happening in Sri Lanka and what the leaders of Sri Lanka had done to the country over the course of the past 70-odd years. Now here on Face to Face, we've also taken it upon ourselves to provide a voice to new people who are coming into politics, new people who are coming to the fray. And today we've got a person of sorts. He is retired Air Vice Marshal Sampath Thuyacontha from the NPP's Retired Military Forum. A very good evening, sir, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me here.
So, first things first, the NPP, just like the SLPP, is not a very old party, although there are parties that have their roots, spanning back decades, the JVP, which is the main party of the NPP. But my first question to you really is, because of the newfound fame of the JVP and the popularity that the JVP is having right now, what was your main reason, or why did you, in simple terms, join the NPP?
Thank you very much for having me here. And to answer your first question, I thought of, going back to my young ages. During my early stage of, 20 years or so, I decided to contribute myself to the nation. And after seeing the destruction and damage caused by the war. So I just need to give my 100% to the nation. I want to see the people of this country to live in harmony and peacefully. So therefore I decided to join the military.
Okay.
And I joined the military Air Force as a pilot. So thereby I got the opportunity to involve with all sort of operations which I started in 1990.
So you were around when the height of the war with the LTT?
Yeah, it was in 1990 where the military, where the Elam War II started.
Okay.
In Batiklo. So I was there in the Batiklo, in one of the aircraft. And I was involving with all sort of operations from there up to the 2009 May until the completion of the war. So after the completion of the war, we all thought, the people of this country thought, this country will prosper into the higher levels from the developing nation state to developed nation.
Yes.
Whereas it has not happened. And with the using of resources, the funds which has been used in the 30 years of war, that has been mentioned by the several leaders of those days, and whereas it has not happened, and instead the country has gone down up to the bankruptcy, and country drawn into the depth, creating a lot of difficulties to the people of this country. So as a responsible person, as a senior military officer, I realized the reason for those. And we saw what has happened in the past, how bad the practice of the democracy, how bad it was, the implementation of the law and order, the justice not prevailed. And also we saw, I can give hundred of examples how it came from bad to worse, the practice of nepotism and the cronyism and the level of corruption and we are, as a military personnel which belongs to the military for a long period of time, we tried our level best and we have committed to our responsibilities, and our job is to safeguard the country, ensure the national security of the nation. So we eliminate terrorism. But what has happened after the war in 2019, in the form of Easter Sunday attack, it's a huge impact created by Easter attacks, and it tarnished the image of the nation, the country,
the faith that the people had in national security.
National security. It was not the fault of the security establishments. Okay. It is the bad governance of the rulers. They failed to establish proper security mechanism. We all know that, right? So we are trying our best to eradicate the terrorism. We have done that, and after all, we are having the same issue because of the petty party politics.
So is it safe to say that you've now decided to support the NPP because there is absolutely no one else that you see fit to govern this country?
Absolutely. We have done our part during the war. We want to eradicate other menaces also, which are connected to national security. For example, underworld. So you hear the news. Every day you get the shooting.
We prepare the news.
Yeah, okay.
And publish it.
Okay. So you get every day news alerts. 1 or 2 killings were there. And drug menace.
1 or 2 killings would be there on a good day.
Good day, right?
Usually there's
usually there are more. And drug menace is increasing, and so environmental pollution and protection of the assets all gone for a 6. And who has done this?
But retired Air Marshal Thuyacontha, now there was a similar backing from retired military officers and a huge portion of the military establishment for President Gotabhaya Rajapakse back in 2019. And that was quite successful because President Gotabhaya Rajapakse ran on the campaign of national security and he had a massive backing from the military. They praised him as an officer of the military, who served his country well and all of that. And the entire military, or at least a sizable proportion of the military, supported him. So what's different between, the support that he had in 2019 from the military establishment to the support that the NPP is now getting from a section of the military
establishment?
establishment?
President Gotabhaya Rajapakse had that support because he was the Secretary to Defense.
Okay.
He was much closer to the military.
Okay.
And he has proven something that he did his part during the war. So that is why the military has supported him. But as a leader of this country, the majority of the people supported him, trusted him. But he himself failed. He failed to deliver what he promised. So that is why people lost faith in each and every main party. So NPP was there. NPP has formed in a couple of years back, allowing all of us to get on board with the NPP. It has opened up to people like us also. So without considering, regardless of your religion, what you believe, or the race that you are in, or the language you are talking, you can join. And they have expanded it to all corners, and may it be from the north, south or west, all of them can join the NPP now. And because the people more or less lost the confidence on the main parties which they had ruled so far. So they have failed to elevate this country into the highest level, especially after the spending more than 1.5 decades now. So nothing has happened unless you can see the state of the country. The people are there suffering. Poor people are there without having 3 meals altogether. So likewise, people lost their faith, and President Gotabhaya Rajapakse is one portion of a continuation of the blunder.
There is now a renewed focus on policies because we've seen time and time again people coming out, putting manifestos out, and at the end of the day, nothing really happens. Those manifestos are just documents for keepsakes, just souvenirs that can be maybe spoken about during an election, but after the election, everybody forgets about it. Not just a political party, but everybody in general. But now there is renewed focus on the policies of the political parties, of course, that are contesting or that are going to contest for the presidential and the general election. So national security, of course, is something that is extremely important, and given the current situation that we're in as a country, we are vulnerable economically. We have gotten support from various international partners. We will have to continue to get support from those various international partners, and all those international partners are not in friendly terms. Some of them, most of them, are not in friendly terms with each other. So there is this geopolitical tension. There is a form of Cold War going on right now in the world. So as far as how Sri Lanka is going to respond to all of this, as to our geographic location in all of this, we're technically sandwiched in the middle of all of this because we are smack dab in the middle of some of the major shipping lines in the world, and it's a very, very strategic location, Sri Lanka. So how are the discussions regarding these matters within the NPP? Is there discussions? Is there a policy document being prepared, to publish once the election is announced?
We are in the process of, complying the policy document with regard to the national security. So right now, as you mentioned, Sri Lanka is in a bad shape. And as you rightly mentioned, Sri Lanka is situated in a very strategic location, important location, which connects the east and west. To take into the example, the same example that you mentioned, we should have the proper security establishment, especially the concern of securing the maritime domain. Because we have a lot of traffic going on via our territorial waters, and we have actually 8 times bigger than the land masses. The waters, territorial waters are bigger than the land masses. So we need to have the cooperation between neighboring countries also, that matter India. So you need to establish the proper diplomatic means, and you need to coordinate with them to have a secure passage for for this traffic. So likewise, you need to gain the trust of the international arena, and you need to work out on that throughout. That is the part of the role of the military even in a fast changing world also. So you should fit into the.
But is the NPP discussing these? Are there discussions and senior military officials like yourself are involved in?
We have a lot of senior members now join the NPP as the Aditana group. So we have discussed, and we are on the process of formulating the proper document. And those are the basic things that you should identify as far as the military, maritime domain is concerned.
Sir, we need to cross over to a short commercial break. We'll be right back and continue our discussion on the other side. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Face to Face.
Newsfirst, Face to Face with Shalan Benedict.
බින්දුවටම ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරපු සමහර දේශපාලන ප්‍රවාහයන් ආයෙනවා කලාව නාව. ඒකෙත් කලාවක් තියෙනවා. ඒක කලාව. ඒ මොකක්ද ඒක? කොහොමද ඒක කියවන්නේ?
තරුණයෝ ඉල්ලුවේ සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් එකක්. ඒක උනේ නෑනේ.
ඒක හදන්න මිනිස්සු ඉන්නව නැත්තේ නෑ.
IMF එකෙන් ණය ගත්ත හැකි. ඔව්. ආර්ථික කඩාවැටීම. මේ සංස්කෘතික කඩාවැටීම සිදු වුණාන් පස්සේ අපි කාගෙන්ද ණයට ගන්න කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙනවා.
මොකක් හරි කරගෙන කාට හරි ගෙයිමක් දීලා කීයක් හරි හොයාගෙන ඉන්න නම් පුරුෂාර්ථය හැදිලා තියෙන ජීවිතේ එතනින් එහාට යගේ හියුමන් ලයිෆ් එකේ ගමනක් නෑනේ.
මිනිස්සු ප්ලෑන් කරපු ජීවිත නැති වෙලානේ හැමෝටම තමන්ගේ ජීවිතය අහිමි.
ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයේ දරිද්‍රතාවයක් කියනවා. Poverty of democracy.
බුද්ධිමය සංවාදය බ්‍රහස්පතින්දා රාත්‍රී 10:30 මාවත
Newsfirst, face to face with Shalan Benedict.
Welcome back. You're watching Face to Face. We're in discussion with retired Air Vice Marshal Thuyacontha. He is from the Retired Military Forum of the NPP. Now, retired Air Vice Marshal, there is this clout surrounding the NPP. There is this dark cloud, as you will, that the opponents of the NPP or the JVP keep on using against the JVP, speaking about, you know, the horrors of what happened back in the late 80s and, you know, the violence that was there at the time. Now, you yourself was an officer of the military. You yourself lived through that time. Of course, I can't confess to have lived through that time because I wasn't around. But one might wonder how you can really reconcile all of these differences and now support the NPP when the JVP does have a certain past like that. There is this question that looms. So how would you respond to someone who has such a concern?
Okay, well, I never expected that question from you. And first of all, in 88, 89, those are the period that we joined the Air Force.
Okay.
But we didn't have any, you know, political orientation as much as we are very junior that time. But I must say now, I realize the facts that what has happened in 1889, it's not a one-sided story. There are enough and more reasons for people to go against the system. That is what happened and in 88 or 89, and that is what exactly happened in 2022 in the form of Aragale also. So luckily we didn't have any, you know, luxury of, you know, technology.
Yeah, you didn't have technology back in 88, 89.
88, 89, but we had in 2022. So I don't blame anybody, but there are reasons for them to take up the challenge with the, you know, the system that time also. There are certain significant reasons, like they were banned from the politics, the leader was not there, killed, and the invasion of Indian peacekeeping force. All the people, majority of the people at that time opposing those, you know, political moves. So why you blame one party for that matter? They got caught to the, you know, the insurgency, and I see both sides of the, you know, issue. So that has gone now. Now, since 2004, the JVPs or NPPs didn't involve with any violence, whereas other parties had involved with so many things, so many killings, so many, you know, violence and the breaking of laws. Whereas I don't see any, you know, breaking of law or violence or any killing of the politicians or whatever. We didn't see from the NPP or the JVP. So they have get back to the track where they have been able to gain the trust of the people right now because of that, you know, exemplary behavior of their political, you know, leaders.
So moving on to another issue that was spoken of broadly a few months back, but now again has taken a bit of a backseat, the right sizing of military. Now, as a senior military officer yourself, I believe you would have a lot of perspective on this matter because Sri Lanka spends over 50% of our budget on maintaining our military. Now, with all due respect to the military that was instrumental in protecting Sri Lanka, in giving us the freedom that we experience today and giving their lives to sacrifice their lives for it, there comes a time when we need to set things right, and the demand or the requirement of the military now has reduced. It has evolved in a way. Some say that there is no need for such a massive military to be present right now, and that it's not calling downsized military, it's called right-sizing military. So do you think that's a right move, and what's the stance of the NPP on right-sizing Sri Lanka's military?
Yeah, you should go ahead with the right-sizing of the military. You should identify the priorities, and we had the number of, you know, huge numbers when it's whenever it's required during the past, during the height of war. Now, right sizing of the force is essential when you considering the economic status of the country. But at the same time, you should do that in a way that whenever you found a person who is leaving the force, he should have the opportunity to get back into the stream and to have employment somewhere.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So with that plan only, we have to right size the services, the armed forces, ensuring all those personnel who are leaving the force have the option of joining again for the government sector or somewhere, or if he or she is skilled person, we must have the system of giving them the NVQ standards and send them abroad to bring back wealth. So you have to have the government mechanism to do that without neglecting those energetic person. So whoever who joined the force is the most, one of the active personality.
There is a strenuous selection process.
Yeah, and medically fit, and you don't have to restrict him inside the camps without making him in a fruitful way. And we think that after serving about 12 or 20 years in the service, all people, most of the other rank members of the armed forces, they are leaving the force, but you must ensure the proper utilization of those skilled person in order to get their involvement for the nation building efforts.
And also speaking about, again, getting back to the whole policies, and are these going to be highlighted in the NPP's policy document? I know there's only so much that you can reveal because that's one of the trump cards that every political party has, their policy statement for an election. But would these matters be covered? Would these be looked into in detail? Because this time around, and I'm pretty sure even the media in Sri Lanka is also very concerned about these because the people are concerned about these. Back in the day, maybe a few years back during a previous election, there were various other talking points, like national security, corruption. They're just one very individual talking points. But this time around, given the situation that Sri Lanka is in, the people are concerned about all of this. They are concerned about what kind of policies and what kind of plans are the parties putting forward on solving these issues. And mind you, I have a very strong feeling that the general public will keep that party to book or will hold them accountable for everything that they do, given the suffering that the people have already had to go now. So will these matters be explained in detail in whatever policy document that the NPP puts forward?
Yeah, definitely. Those are there in the policy documents.
And this is being prepared right now?
Yeah, this is being prepared right now. There are certain areas that you should have to add or amend accordingly with the change in situations. And as far as the national security document, we are under the progress of compiling that. And for what's your question? Can I get to?
So this is regarding right sizing of military and how
I have answered that question.
How we move forward, of course, with
the
these
policies,
matters of national security, the policies.
Okay, policy documents. So far in the history, we know that all sort of political parties had their own policy documents. The thing is whether you walk the talk, right? So so far. We had all sort of best policy documents, but when it's come to the practical situation, it's not happened. But as far as the NPP is concerned, we have sort of policy documents, but the thing is we didn't had the opportunity
to implement
them. So people with the experience that we had with the party like NPP, so whether it is in the policy book or not, we have the trust upon them that they will deliver good in the future government,
So when you say they, you are also part of that?
Definitely, I have joined them to support them and to form the government, believing that they are the only party right now who could elevate this, country into a better position, the position where we are now.
Just one final question, retired Air Marshal, since we're in the final few minutes of the show. Now, I've been in discussion with several other politicians representing other political parties, and some of their concerns I'd like to present to you so you can clarify these matters, of course, is they say that the JVP and the NPP now, many members or many high-ranking members have very rarely or in fact never held down a job in the private sector. They have not worked with the private sector. They have no understanding of really how to work, how to do this, because right now we're in discussion with international creditors, we're in discussion with the IMF, so there is a certain nuanced way of going about these things, and that senior members of the NPP, especially since the economy is one of the major concerns right now, senior members of the NPP's Economic Council don't really have that practical knowledge because they absolutely have not worked in the public sector. They don't know what to do exactly. So how would you respond to that? I'm not agreeing with you.
So what has happened with the experienced people? Right, so-called experienced people were there. The enough and more experience were there. But this is not the matter to be concerned. This is the intention of a person. How what do you call?
How they conduct themselves.
How they conduct
their integrity.
And in their integrity. So what is the intention of a political leaders or a party? That matters a lot.
But
if you qualified in a way that you are you have fulfilled your background with the qualification, but your intention is not there. So that is what happened to all sort of qualified people who are in the government. See, if he or she corrupt, if he or she wanted to do business
on the side,
so JP people, leaders or NPP people, they are not opted to do business through politics. So they are very educated people, they have qualified people, but only thing is they are not doing anything else rather than committed themselves to the politics. So that doesn't mean that they don't know anything, and NPP is not depending on, we have of course the very capable leader, but it is a place where you take collective decisions.
But now when it comes
we have a lot of qualified guys inside the NPP.
When it comes to qualifications and experience, you really have a scale to measure it on. Qualifications, what are the
experience,
degrees, experience, where have you worked at, how long have you worked there, what positions. But when it comes to the integrity of a person, or more importantly, what you mentioned, the intention of a person, how do you measure that?
With your past records. Whenever you had the opportunity, the NPP also into this same political stream. So have you seen they are violating the normal standards, normal ethics of politics? Whereas you can compare with other the political parties, they are not jumping here and there. If they gone from the
party, they're gone.
There are certain instances, but they are stick to their policies. The only party in ground now, which they maintain the policies up to the satisfactory mark.
Thank you very much, retired Air Marshal Thuyacontha, for joining us today. He's a member of the retired military wing of the NPP. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us and clarifying all these matters. Of course, there are various political parties contesting the election, various promises, various policies, and various hopes being sold to the general public of Sri Lanka. But at the end of the day, don't forget, it's your choice and your choice alone. It's your duty and responsibility to make an informed choice, and it is our duty to provide you with the information that you need, and we will continue to do just that. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Face to Face. Until we meet again, take care and God bless.